This is episode 28. In the previous episode, we had covered till verse 22 of chapter 4. Today, we will move ahead and cover verses 23 to 33, a total of 11 verses. These verses are about Yajna, which we have discussed a bit in the past as well. So, let's go through these verses and then come back and reflect on them. I will start with verse 23, which is Gat Sangasya Muktasya Gyan Avasthit Chetasah Yajnaya Acharatah Karma Samagram Pravilete. God says that the one who is free from attachments, whose intellect is established in knowledge, and who is performing all actions with Yajna is freed from all karmic bondages. That was verse 23. And now I will read verses 24 to 33 together and do the literal translations also together. So let's hear these verses. Brahma Arpanam, Brahma Havi, Brahma Agnav, Brahmana Hutam, Brahma Eva Ten Gantavyam, Brahma Karma Samadhina, Devam Eva Apre Yajnam Yogina Paryupasate, Brahma Agnav Apre Yajnam Yagnen Ev Upjuhvati, Shrotradini Indriyani Anye Sanyamya Agnishu Juhvati, Shabdadin Vishyan Anye Indriya Agnishu Juhvati, Sarvani Indriya Karmani Pran Karmani Cha Apre Atma Sanyam Yogagno Juhvati Gyan Deepite, Dravya Yajna Tapah Yajna Yog Yajna Tatha Apre Swadhyaya jñāna-yajña cha yatah sanchit vratah apane juhvati pranam prane apanam tatha apre pranapan gati ruddhva pranayam parayana apre niyatahara pranan praneshu juhvati sarve api ete yagvidyo yagshapit kalmashah yagyashisht amrit bhujo yanti brahma sanatanam na ayam lokah asti ayajyasya कुतो अन्य कुरु सत्तमम एवं बहुविधा यज्ञा वितता ब्रह्मणो मुखे कर्मजान विद्धि तान सर्वान एवं ज्ञात्वा विमोक्षसे श्रेयान द्रव्यम्यात यज्ञात ज्ञान यज्ञ परंतप सर्वम कर्म अखिलम पार्थ ज्ञाने परिसमाप्यते. So these were verses 24 to 33, and now let me do the translations. God says the offering is Brahma, which is the eternal. The oblation is Brahma, the fire is Brahma, and the act of offering is also Brahma. One who is aware of this and is completely absorbed in Brahma while performing action attains Brahma. Some yogis focus their yajna on the devas, that is, they perform action with yoga focused on smaller objectives and offer their senses in yajna or restrain their senses while doing action. Few others offer their self as a sacrifice in the fire of Brahma, that is, offering their ego or giving up their ego and becoming one with their soul. In other words, offering their ego or giving up their ego and becoming one with their soul. Others offer their hearing and other senses in the sacrificial fire of restraint. Still others offer sound and other objects of the senses as sacrifices in the fire of the senses. Some others offer their actions and their life energy, while others offer their self-restraint in the fire of an enlightened mind or knowledge. Some offer their wealth as sacrifice, while others offer efforts, renunciation, or discipline as sacrifice. Some offer yoga as sacrifice, and yet others, while working hard and observing difficult vows, offer their cultivated knowledge in yajna. Others restrain their outgoing breath and the incoming breath by arduously practicing pranayam in yajna. Some curtail their food intake and the requirements for their life energy as a sacrifice. All of these are knowers of yajna and have cleansed themselves from sins by doing yajna. Those who know the secret of yajna advance towards the absolute truth after partaking in its fruits that are like nectar. O best of the Kurus, which is a word for Arjun, if there is no place in this world for those who do not perform yajna, then where is it, or in which world is it? All these different kinds of yajna have been described and elaborated by Brahma. Know them as originating from karma And upon knowing this, you will be able to attain salvation, O Parantap, which means subduer of enemies, a name for Arjun. Yajna of knowledge or rational discrimination is better than yajna of material offerings. After all, O Parth, all karma culminates in jnana or knowledge and rational discrimination. So these were all the verses. And if you look at these, God introduced yajna or sacrifice or renunciation in verse 4.23, wherein he says that the one who is free from attachments, whose intellect is established in knowledge, and who is performing all actions with yajna is freed from all karmic bondages. The point that God is trying to make in verse 23 is that by acting with renunciation or sacrifice, all karmas get dissolved. You are in a state of inaction, even if you are acting, which is action in inaction. In episode 20, when we were discussing verse 3.9, I had mentioned that God has given a clue about yajna in that verse. Let me read verse 9 of chapter 3 once again. Yagyarthat karmano anyatra loko ayam karm bandhana tadartham karma kaunteya mukt sangha samachara. God says that other than action done as yajna, all other action causes bondage in this material world. Karma causes delusion if not done with yajna. Therefore, O Arjun, perform your righteous action without being attached to the fruits of action. This is the clue that yajna is an action where you are free from the attachment to the fruits of action. I had also mentioned that Paramhans Yoganand says that the action where you have sacrificed your senses or sacrificed your ego is yajna. My simplistic interpretation is that action done with yoga is yajna. So in verse 23, God says that while performing action with yoga and simultaneously having your intellect established in knowledge, while being free from attachments, you escape the bondage of karma and you find yourself in a state of inaction even while acting. So this is verse 23. And then from verses 24 to 33, God talks about many types of yajna or sacrifice or renunciation. He says some do it for devas, some offer ego as a sacrifice to the soul. And in this context, yajna means renunciation or sacrifice. So some offer their ego, some practice pranayama and restrain the incoming and outgoing breaths as a sacrifice. Some offer hearing and other senses as sacrifices. Some offer wealth as a sacrifice. Some offer hearing and other senses as sacrifices. Some offer knowledge as a sacrifice, and some people practice restraint. Some offer their food as a sacrifice. So all of them are restraining themselves and performing their action with renunciation and restraint and without getting attached to the results. By doing this, they get the benefit of the fruits of performing these sacrifices, that is, benefiting from renounced action and eventually attaining Brahma. So God has shared many ways of doing yajna. In the end, verse 33 is also very important, and let's hear once again to understand what God means by this verse. Shreyan dravyamyat yagyat jnāna-yajña parantapa sarvam karma akhilam parth jnāne parisamapyate. Yajna of knowledge and rational discrimination is better than yajna of material offerings. What is the yajna of knowledge? This is what we have been discussing in this entire chapter. We talked about this in episodes 26 and 27, where we discussed that actions in themselves do not have any meaning. Rational discrimination determines whether it is righteous action or a wrong action. In inaction, which is the negative of action, rational discrimination determines whether it is inaction or actionlessness. So this is the yajna of knowledge. And he says that once that happens, action and knowledge merge. That is, Gyana Yoga and Karma Yoga merge. Sarvam Karma Akhilam Parth Jnāne Parisamapyate. That is, Gyana Yoga and Karma Yoga merge. They are not divergent. So perform actions with knowledge that has the righteous battle as an objective, that has perseverance, principles, rational discrimination, and skill. Perform these duties as yajna, wherein you have controlled your senses, where you are free from attachment to the fruits of the action, where you have offered ego as a sacrifice and where you are not in a delusion of considering yourself as the cause. This is the culmination of knowledge and action into one. And hence, the yajna of knowledge is superior to the yajna of material offerings. Notice that in all of these verses, wherever yajna is mentioned, it refers to restraint, control, or renunciation, be it of the senses, sense objects, ego, food, or pranayama. These are the ways in which one can do yajna. And it is mentioned here that physical yajna, that is offering oblation in fire, is not the only way to do it. God effectively says that to do yajna, one does not have to sit on the battlefield and do physical yajna by offering something in the holy fire. He is talking about restraint and renunciation, and there are multiple ways in which one can do yajna. God also says that out of all of these methods, the yajna of knowledge is superior to any other form of yajna. We will stop here today. Thank you.